Hey, Noah. Noah, are you there? Hi. Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? No.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you. It's been one of those afternoons. Hold on.
Let me see if I have any of my Bluetooth is off.
You're frozen.
Okay. Am I back?
Yeah, I got you now. I still can't hear you though.
Okay.
Is that, can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, great. Okay, so a couple of things really quick. I made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. You can test that out whenever you want to. I'll just continue to talk. Sarah emailed us all, and she said that at the moment people start saying, okay, we're going to put you all in breakout rooms, people have been exiting,
Okay.
which is kind of what I think we were laughing at earlier. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, let me know what you think, but I can say, okay, guys, do you have any, I think I'm just going to open it up to Q&A for you in general, just to see where they are. There's a question in the app that's like a generic question about like, what can, wait, I took a picture of it. It said, like, in the midst of a pandemic, what are your suggestions for recent graduates searching for opportunities to gain in healthcare? You know, basic generic question. So I can like start it off based because
Okay.
of that, and then we'll see if anybody pick up, and we'll see how long that lasts. At which point I can say, all right, guys, we can either break out into small sessions right now, or we can stay and introduce ourselves. If you're interested in staying on after this Q&A, please do. And we can see if anybody leaves. And if the group is still at like 30 or even 20, then I'll say, okay, since this group is so large, I'll break us out into groups of 10, just so that they're like 2 groups instead of like a bunch of little groups. And we'll see how that goes. What do you think?
So, wait a minute. So you're saying we're supposed to cut out after the 20 minutes? Is that what Sarah was saying?
No, this is supposed to last, the longest it can be is 50 minutes.
Right.
So, and the idea is to have, you know, your presentation be 10, 15 minutes, Q&A lasts maybe for 20 minutes, and then we could conceivably have time to do 3 breakout sessions at 10 minutes a clip. But what Sarah's saying is that people are leaving when, you know,
As soon as the presentation's over or whatever?
yeah. And so I sort of want to gauge people's interest in breakout rooms before putting them in a breakout room where there's like maybe 1 per person. Because I'm not very good. This is my first experience with breakout rooms and I don't want to troubleshoot it. So I'd rather have just like 2 breakout rooms that are substantial rather than at the same time, rather than like 5 breakout rooms with 1 person in.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, that's got to be better, you know, for all of the participants that way. I mean, there's got to be more, you know, dialogue, right?
Right. So I think after our Q&A, I'll say, all right, this is the time at which we would normally break you out into smaller groups. If you're interested in staying, please do. And if you're interested in leaving, thank you so much for joining us. And then they can leave and we can then see how many people we have left.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine by me. I mean, so, yeah, I mean, so with my stuff, let's see, close enough. So yeah, I mean, my stuff's probably like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay, great.
So, what's that?
That's great.
That's better.
Yeah. Can you share your screen with me?
Yeah. Have a major technology.
Okay, great. That looks good.
So does that, so you can see that?
Yeah, it looks great. So
Okay.
what I can do is from here, I can, whenever we start, I'm going to do this to myself. So do you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be spotlighting. So I'm like, oh, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got Madison here, on and on. And then I'll go back to the shared view. I guess after I introduce you, could you again prompt yourself to share your screen?
Yeah.
I'll say, here's Noah, and then I'll move to spotlight you. And then once you're ready to start your presentation, just share it.
Okay.
Okay, do we have,
It's like a couple of people.
right, Austin and Kyle. Right, and another quick aside, Sarah did say that most people join without their video, so.
Oh, okay.
But we'll wait. It's 2 o'clock now, we've got 5. We'll just wait for a few more minutes.
Maybe give everybody a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
think we should get started.
Well, we've only got, we're still waiting on a handful more people, so. Okay, everyone, it looks like we have 10 people on. Welcome. We're just gonna wait for a couple more minutes because we've got about 30 people registered. So please be patient with us and we'll start in just a few minutes, just a couple minutes. Thanks. We've got 11. Okay, we'll just give this to 5 after, so just one more minute and then we'll start it up. All right, let's go ahead. Good. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the Life Sciences and Health Industry update. We've got a wonderful speaker today for you. My name is Amanda Duyon. I am the Programs Manager for Clubs with the Tulane Alumni Association. So if you've done anything with your local club, you may have met me or got an email from me. Anyway, it's great to have you all on. Today we have as our feature speaker, Tulane alum, Noah Madison. He's the Vice President of TEAMWORx Health and Talent and Strategy. It's a healthcare and life sciences specific nationwide executive search group. He's got lots of experience. He's also a wonderful volunteer for the Club of Denver. He works with us quite often and we are thrilled to have him speak with us today. So Noah, I'll let you jump in and start it up.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. As Amanda said, I am the Vice President of TEAMWORx Health here in Denver, Colorado, healthcare-specific executive search firm, and we also work in life sciences. I also have a background in the outplacement industry, and if you're not familiar, basically helping people to find jobs by teaching them to talk about themselves. I did that for a long time in the recession, so if you have questions geared towards job search, I can absolutely answer those for you. Back in April, I gave a presentation that I think is linked to this talk, that if you want to know more about healthcare and life sciences, that one's about 45 minutes. This one has a lot or some of the same content and a lot of the same ideas, but based on what's happened in the last 5 months, there's definitely this is more about where things are going kind of immediately. But so with that, so is it on there, Amanda?
Yep, looks good.
Great. Okay. So as I mentioned, a lot of things have changed in the last 5 months, and now that there's some sense of a light at the end of the tunnel, these are some views on that. Something to keep in mind about this, I definitely pulled a lot of this from KPMG and actually their international division. So this is the presentation that I did in April is much more geared towards the U.S. health economy, where this is more towards trends for the worldwide health economy. But so with that, as you can see, we've allowed our deference to the complexity of our health systems to drastically limit the scale, scope, and speed of the transformation that they very much need. What they're really talking about there is that everybody thinks that healthcare is this kind of wizard behind the curtain sort of thing, and so nobody's really tried to fix it, and that has run into a really major problem with everything. Something that has been found though too, that the pandemic has sped a lot of this stuff up as far as really transforming healthcare. Everybody can look to other industries that have already really transformed their industries, pivoted, and really become more consumer centric. Really easy examples are entertainment. So, obviously think Netflix, Apple Plus, et cetera, where it's about providing the content that the specific consumer wants. Retail, obviously Amazon, and now Target, Walmart, et cetera, where it's technology that makes the experience so seamless. And then also finance, apps like Robinhood, doing online banking on your phone, et cetera, has made that experience much better for everyone. And to really fix healthcare, you need to totally connect it in this seamless sort of sense of care. Major obstacles. So KPMG surveyed 400 health leaders across the world, and here was the major things that they came up with. So data security and privacy is obviously a very big thing. Patient health records are very important to everybody. In fact, from a banking record sense, a lot of the times now hackers would prefer to have your health records. As far as sharing patient data, that whole system is a real mess right now. It's getting a bit better, but EHR, so electronic health records, sharing those sort of things so that there's more seamless care. And not only that, but also democratizing it so that you have analytics that can lead to better decisions needs to be done. Insufficient budgets, the healthcare is so expensive as it is, and the brick and mortar healthcare is extremely expensive. That all these hospital execs feel that they just don't have enough money to do what they need to do. The patient data housing and multiple databases. This once again goes back to your health records being stored all over the place in different pieces of them. So a care provider can't get a complete picture of your health. And then legacy systems. Legacy systems within the healthcare world are basically those those system organizations, hospital systems that still have the old IBM stacks in their basements that aren't really a help to anyone and need to be putting that sort of stuff on the cloud. So, trends coming up. So, as everyone knows, telemedicine has exploded. There was a 50% uptick in the use of telemedicine within the United States in the first month of the pandemic, and the numbers were supposed to be about 56 million people using telehealth this year, which now by the end of the year they feel it's going to be more around 200 million. So redesigning the healthcare system. From brick and mortar type places that are falling apart to everything along the continuum of care, so primary, secondary, acute care, community organizations, and then the actual middle and back office stuff all needs to be figured out. And easy example of that is there with the supply chain. Everybody knows what happened as far as not being able to get enough personal protection equipment and the breakdown in the supply chains with that. The insight-led decisions through integrated systems, that's what I was just talking about. I mean, data analytics and population health are really the things that are going to change healthcare and bring down the cost of it. But you need to have the data to be able to make the right decisions. So the focus on consumer centricity is an interesting one, where you would think that within every system they talk about being all about the patient experience, but that's not actually true. Where most of the decisions are made and why they're made are for the people that are giving money, the policymakers, and from the clinicians. We kind of hear all the time in health tech that the clinicians want the whether it's a device or it's some sort of software solution really engineered around them. But that's really a big problem where it needs to be based much more on the consumer, on the patient, and looked at it from that lens. Enterprise-wide innovation, focusing on next-gen technologies, yes, that's what we've been talking about. I mean, there really needs to be a focus on technology, just as there's been a focus and has really changed changed all those other industries that we've talked about, from entertainment, retail, finance, you name it. Technology has made them all better. And then agile and empowered workforce. So this is an interesting one where everybody's seen and it's a very good thing that there's a focus on nurses and the rest of the healthcare workers and their well-being, where you need to be able to provide a good working space for these folks. For example, working from home for some things, and obviously they can't work from all of them, but working from home, to flex schedules, to there's a big push in volunteerism within healthcare to take some of the burden off of the shortage of healthcare workers that's coming up. Already here, but a lot more coming up. These are actually taken from my other presentations. So if you want to go back and look at this, there's a lot more data on these. And in the U.S. alone, we're talking about a $3.6 trillion industry. So we could talk for years about everything that can be done within healthcare. But here's some things to be thinking about. That healthcare spend, which $3.6 trillion, which is somewhere around 18% of our spend in total. So that's a problem. Big pharma. I know that the current president is trying to pass legislation to bring that down. But obviously, if you can't, and there's actually a lot of technology out there too now as far as bringing drug prices down. But big pharma is a big area where there could be a lot of improvement. So value-based care versus fee-for-service. If you're not familiar with this, basically, uh, basically this comes down to where hospitals get paid more and reimbursed better for providing better care, not how much care that they provide. And so that goes back to that, consumer or patient-centric idea of things that, it really should be based on the quality of care, just not how much that you're providing. Population health helps with that. And that actually goes right into data analytics and big data, which comes from electronic health records. That interoperability is what I was referring to, as far as having the systems work together so that all of your health record is complete. And with that, care providers can make better decisions about your care, which absolutely goes into, if they're making better decisions, then that brings down the cost of healthcare in general. That's really kind of the idea behind the Affordable Care Act. So we'll see what happens with that. Telehealth, telemedicine, and mHealth. mHealth kind of takes up both of those, but telehealth telemedicine is more being provided care over some sort of teledevice. Where telehealth is actually, and it kind of gets into these areas that are worth checking out. Behavioral health, mental health, that now can be provided, over the phone. If you have, say, the Calm app, and that helps you out and brings down your blood pressure, and you don't have to go to the hospital as much, that's a good thing. But there's also true, mental health solutions out there. Fitness and wellness, of course, med devices and 3D printers. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in the 3D printing world, not only from devices, but also, 3D printing organs and so on and so forth. AI is obviously a big thing too, from the data analytics side, population health, making better decisions on things. But not only that, not needing so much human capital to get things done is all part of the really interesting stuff that will come about from AI. And then, assisted senior living, home care, and hospice. We have been doing a fair amount of work in that right now. And, that's an area to look into from a standpoint of, if you want to get into healthcare, it's not going anywhere. I read an article where this area of healthcare is not going to slow down or level off as far as the amount of care being provided until 2060. So basically, when the baby boomers kind of age out. So that's also an area to look into, especially if you're into that sort of thing. And so that is that. So yeah, just a quick overview for everybody. Happy to take some questions, or Amanda, however you want to do this.
Sure. I'm going to switch to gallery mode, and I encourage anyone who's on to do the same, because we're just a small group of us. So this is a great time for Q&A. Thank you so much, Noah, for that great presentation. First of all, for the sake of not talking over each other, if you do have a question, I think the easiest way would be to just put it in the chat, and we could read it off from there. And so if you've got anything going, feel free to chat, or since we're so quiet right now, you can certainly jump in. But I will start with the first question that was actually put into the app in the community, and it reads: in the midst of a pandemic, what are your suggestions / advice for recent graduates searching for opportunities to gain in healthcare or research? So Noah, what do you say to that question, recent grads?
Okay, from pretty much all those areas that I was just, speaking about, I mean, healthcare is so big. There's so many different areas. First and foremost, especially if you're a recent graduate, figure out where your passions are. and, go after that area of healthcare. For example, home care, senior care, something like that, if you like working with the elderly. But because of the fact that you're gonna start from the bottom, as we all know that have been in the working world for a while, you're gonna have to start from the bottom anyway. So kind of pick that path that you are most interested in. Definitely, if you're technologically oriented, there's so many companies out there. There's so many startups out there that you can become a part of. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands. I think there's something like 380,000 apps or something like that right now within health and wellness and life sciences and healthcare. But but so I guess my best advice is figure out what you like to do, or where your passion lies within areas of healthcare, and then just start looking into things. The best way that you're going to end up finding a position, 80% of where you're going to end up finding a job is through your network. So obviously use the two-way network as much as possible. But getting out there and speaking to people about what you're looking to do is going to get you farther faster probably than just applying to jobs online.
Okay, great. Looks like, okay, so Natalie is saying goodbye in the chat, so she's got to go. Does anybody else have any other questions? We don't have anything going on in the chat right now, so feel free to just speak on up if you've got something on your mind right now. Anybody?
I guess I'm not someone who is just coming out of school, but I've been out of the healthcare and paid workforce for a while, raising family, volunteering, substitute teaching, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But I do have an MBA and about 5-6 years of experience in healthcare administration from a while ago. Okay. And so I'm looking to get back into the paid workforce. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm learning more technology, but that's not presently a strong suit for me right now. So my question is if you had any suggestions on how to get back in.
Sure. Well, once again, it really comes back down to 80% of where you're going to find a job is through your network. So, really developing a plan. And the best way of looking at it is you're basically a saleswoman selling yourself as a product. So, there's 3 things that everybody needs to know to be able to help you out. Your work background, what you want to basically do. So a scope of work, which really comes down to 5 or 6 tasks and responsibilities that you can really promote, that you enjoy doing, that a company can make money from you with doing, and then having a targeted list is important. I mean, an MBA is very helpful. We do work in sales and in finance, and there's plenty of work in the financial realm right now. We're doing a lot of work in revenue cycle, which revenue cycle is basically, from when a consumer walks in the door, how fast can you get their money from the insurance companies, and how much of it can you get? So, having an MBA is very helpful for that. But really kind of any of the areas of finance are pretty hot right now. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is figuring out, what kind of areas do you want to be in? What areas, what was your 5 years worth of experience in healthcare?
I worked as administrative assistant and then as assistant director with some outpatient ancillary services reporting to me. And at the time, there was some, focus on finances, but there was also more focus on program development and streamlining or making programs more efficient. Mm-hmm. I was also involved with 1122 certifications and that sort of thing.
Well, and to that point, from ASCs, so ambulatory surgery centers, outpatient, any sort of outpatient stuff is really big right now. I mean, people don't, and nor should you, I mean, unless you really need to go to a hospital, don't go to a hospital. So any of those sort of outpatient sort of facilities are big. But there's so many different kind of areas that's so much more focused on these days. For example, behavioral health. There's not the stigma that there used to be with that sort of thing. So a lot more people are seeking health or help with their mental health, which is a great thing. But so there's just so many more areas that you can look into, and as I mentioned, I mean, home health is huge. Home health / senior living is a place where, especially, depending on how many more years you want to spend within your career, within the working world. As I mentioned, I mean, that business isn't slowing down till 2060 or somewhere around there. So, but there's just so many to look into. I would recommend Becker's. So Becker's is a gentleman out of Chicago, but he has many different kind of blog posts. It's actually other people writing them, but he's a healthcare attorney out of Chicago, and travels around the country. Nice guy, but you can find a lot within all of his writings in a lot of different areas, from hospitals to ASCs to kind of you name it. There's plenty of stuff to choose from. And if you're looking for something kind of more, cooler, interesting, there's a thing called the Medical Futurist, which is a website, and you can get, he's a one-man band, but he does a blog or he does a daily, or it's more kind of like bi-weekly now, email. But the medicalfuturist.com, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of, hey, here's where healthcare is going from a technology side. So a lot of interesting reads there.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that was great. It looks like we've got something from Marilyn Sander. It says, where do you find jobs for HEDIS abstrators? What type of institution?
I'm not sure what that is.
HEDIS abstrators. Marilyn, am I saying that right? Do you want to hop on? Okay. Okay, well, okay, here's something from Maggie Wong. What are the most important experiences to have prior to graduating for biostatistics program? Like what are some internships to look into for biostatistics?
Oh, wow. I mean, and this is just off the top of my head, honestly, I don't know. But I would, review medical records. I would say with the other question though, I mean, anything with a pharmaceutical company, it would probably fit the bill from a biostatistics standpoint.
Okay, did you want to comment on Marilyn's question then about?
Oh, sorry. Well, I saw part of it, but I was in the middle of a thought. So medical records?
Right. Apparently it reviews medical records in detail. And the question was, where do you find jobs for that?
Oh, to review medical records? Oh, goodness. I mean, they kind of all over the place. I mean, from hospitals, I mean, any sort of care provider. And I mean, with that being said, the other different types of care providers besides system hospitals. But I would also say, some of the new, and they're not really new, but as I was talking about the data analytics orgs, the population health organizations, And as I mentioned, population health is a huge thing. I mean, by being able to provide better care for everyone, it's going to drive down healthcare costs, which is the main goal. Now, within saying that, I would also maybe wait for a month and see what happens in the election before you maybe want to dive into population health, because because some of the focus is going to be taken off of that depending on what happens with the Affordable Care Act, and obviously that's going to depend on what happens with the elections coming up in November. So.
Okay, great. Looks like we're done with the chat. Does anyone have anything new or any follow-up to any of the answers that have been provided thus far? Okay. Okay.
I had some questions. My question, I guess, didn't come up in blue. I think I posted it incorrectly. It's right before Maggie.
Can you give us your name and then ask?
Vivian.
Oh, great, Vivian. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's right above where Maggie posted. So I was just asking, I know the speaker said he had done another session. I was wondering what his background is. Is his company or industry hiring? And then the reason I was asking that is because I was wondering to him, what are your recommendations for switching from, say, being directly in the field and industry, such as myself, to some of those, innovative companies that you mentioned, tackling, the types of issues you discussed, because those are definitely issues that I've noticed that I would like to, move into. And so I personally have found it hard to locate, more forward-thinking environments, even at smaller companies. And so I thought perhaps, an analyst or consultant type role in, at a company that's, researching and digging into the findings that you were saying might be a good fit. And then other than personal networks, do you know of a hub of these, to go to of these life science innovators or healthcare innovators?
So actually, yeah, I mean, so if you're talking about from a software solution standpoint, actually there's a slide in there that talks about I can't remember exactly what it is. I didn't necessarily review all of it, but there's, hundreds of different companies on there to look into. I mean, honestly, Google's always a really good resource to figure that sort of stuff out, especially from a localized standpoint. I would say too, I mean, within the Denver area, when we could actually go to networking things, there's whatever city you're in, as long as it's relative size, there's going to be at least 10, maybe 20 different healthcare / life sciences, industry organizations, associations that you can reach out to, and they'll be able to point you in a bit more specific direction. From my standpoint, so my background is that my father was a physician, so I've kind of grown up around healthcare, and kind of realized that I was never going to be a doctor, and I was going to go the business route. So got a finance degree from maybe Freeman, started out in the real estate development business, moved from that into, I was in the restaurant business for a bit in Chicago, and then I moved into outplacement, so job search strategies for consultancy out of Chicago, and then into, which was somewhat of a natural fit, moving into executive recruitment. I would say with that, we're not, we need to have a very good overview of what people do and be able to spot and understand talent. But we're never supposed to be the experts in any sort of thing that we're, for what we do. Now, with that being said, there's plenty of, I mean, if you're interested in recruitment, depending on what type that you're interested in, it's great business. It's an interesting business. It's a bit frustrating business because you're dealing with the human element all the time. But with that being said, it's also, it's also very lucrative business depending on how you're doing it. So, so yeah. I think I answered all of your questions within that.
Okay, the human element, frustrating. Okay, so moving back to the chat, it looks like the questions have sort of slowed down, but I would open up the mic to anyone at this point who has something they'd like to ask Noah. Anything else?
What was the other presentation that you had referred to? You, I believe you said there was another related life science topic that you had hosted that was similar to this one. Is that also on this event?
Yeah, I think it's on the Hulu, on the on the app page for this. Under my maybe able to find it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's let's see here.
It should be in the session. It's like an attachment. If you go to the agenda and go to your session.
Yeah, if you go to this session underneath my speaker, there is a link to it in blue.
Hi, sorry, I tried to turn on my camera and it disconnected me. And I think my camera's having something up with it. But could you say that one more time? If you go where?
Sure. Yeah. So if you go into the app, I think it's the Huva. Is that how you say it? Anyway, if you go into the app and then you go into the agenda section and then click into this section or into this session, at the very bottom of the page, there's a link in blue, and that'll take you to it.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot more within that one. It's 45 minutes-ish, something like that. There's a lot more specific data in everything that I talked about today. It's just there obviously wasn't a ton of time to really get into the nitty-gritty of things today.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so I work in biotech, and yeah, the reason I was asking is because I've often tried to network at various tech events in general, mm-hmm. and I have noticed a lot of the findings that you had in your slides, whereas when I go to tech events, the biotech industry is, they are very not, innovative, or they are more geared toward their own needs versus, ultimately the patients that they're, creating medicines for. And so that is something that I've definitely been interested in, but mm-hmm. find it very difficult to find. Like, even when I go to networking events, like-minded individuals are few and far between. That's why I was looking for maybe kind of like a hub or where to, start to kind of find that thing. And I understand it's because the environment's very heavily regulated. So, yep. Change is people are very weary of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me actually, as Amanda reminded me to remind us about. So we're also setting up a healthcare and life sciences group within Tulane. Mainly alumni, but of course any students can jump into it too. But it'll be within the Tulane app, and it will also be on LinkedIn soon. And there will be there'll be an email sent out. I mean, just because of COVID and everything, we were planning on, ramping it up this summer. It'll probably be more towards the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year. But, what we have envisioned for that is anybody in any form of healthcare or life sciences, great place to meet, somewhat like-minded individuals that are at least, Tulaneans and shared experience. But yeah, so look out for that email. And if you haven't, registered your email with Tulane, definitely do that. to start getting those emails, but should be pretty interesting. There's a lot of the same level schools such as ours. Duke has one. Many other have some form of healthcare alumni network, healthcare professionals alumni network. So yeah. So look out for that.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
That's actually a great kind of way to wrap our session. Unless anyone has any other questions, I'll just reiterate what Noah's just said. If you go into our Tulane alumni webpage, you'll find a tab for career services. If you go into career services, you can easily register with Tulane Connect, and that is what can link you to the health group, the health and life sciences group that Noah was talking about. And once you are on board with Tulane Connect, you will be getting all of those updates for a variety of different groups that we will have, the first being the healthcare group, which has been spearheaded by Noah. So please, if you haven't already, the Tulane Connect registration is really key to getting you sort of locked into notices and very interesting and very sort of beneficial emails about career services and about industry specific opportunities. So I don't see any other questions, and we are supposed to wrap up in about 5 minutes. So I'd like to thank you, and thank you, Noah, for all of that, the wonderful presentation and your Q&A session. I believe that you can connect with anyone who is on this meeting, since you've all been registered for this particular meeting. Go through the app. It's a fun app. You can easily connect with other people, send out emails, try to set out times to just meet with like-minded people in your own industry. So go back to your app if you haven't already and sort of explore. Otherwise, we hope that you've enjoyed this presentation and that was beneficial to you. And if you have any questions or comments or anything, just go to the app and you can either send us a message there or go to our website and you can send a message directly to Career Services for some feedback. I'm sure you'll all be getting an email asking you about your opinion on the entire presentation and your experience at Global Networking Week. But thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you all in person sometime soon. So thanks a lot, and we'll end it there.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day, everyone.